Welcome back, guys, and again we are doing a review on this, the 2017 Road King. So I think this is one of the last bikes that I'm going to do a test review on in terms of the 2017 range, because we are now moving into the 2018 range very soon. So lots of exciting things going on there. I think we may be looking at the Milwaukee engine moving into a lot of the other models that haven't got it yet. As with all my test reviews, let's do the sound test. Let's hear what this Road King sounds like. What I need to point out is that this is a complete standard model, so the exhaust system itself is completely stock. So let's go for it. So here we go. Let's give it a rev. As I thought, obviously it sounds very stock. One of the things you can do is obviously put a new exhaust system on it from Vance & Hines, etc. But overall it looks and sounds okay for a HD. So without further ado, let's get on with it. Let's jump on it and see what it's all about. So sitting on the Road King, it does feel absolutely comfy. I mentioned on my last review, I talked about the Softail S and that feeling like an armchair. I can tell with this bike it's going to feel, I don't know, like a waterbed. I think it is that soft. But looking at controls itself, as I mentioned in all my reviews, very simplistic with the Harley Davidson range. Obviously with the gas tank just below me, you've got the fuel gauge on the left hand side, which I can clearly see. You've got the dials in the middle, and then the fuel point at the right hand side. Looking at the controls itself, on the left hand side you've got the self-cancelling left indicators, you've got the horn, the headlights, and you've also got the cruise control here as well, which is a nice feature. Then just behind the clutch cable, the clutch, you've actually got your circulation button, as I call it. So that gives you what exactly is going on with the bike. So looking at it now, it's got 270 miles left, more than enough for today. And on the right hand side you've got the hazard lights, self-cancelling right indicator, etc. So as I mentioned, it's all the same jazz that you find on the other HDs. As this is the touring range, you've got, or I used to call them, the floorboards, but these are obviously the footboards, which are great for those cruising, doing those long miles, etc. And then you've also got your bags at the rear as well, the saddle bags, which are very nice. But without further ado, let's get cracking with the review. Okay, so coming up to the first roundabout, see what this is like. Should feel very nice. So I'm just applying a little bit of back brake, leaning over to the right, slightly using a little bit of counterbalance, doing a left mirror check, an over shoulder check, but it feels great. It does feel extremely light. One of the things I do notice on the Road King is that for some reason, and I just spoke to an owner about this who's got a Road King, is that the front end does seem to want to dip in. It's really odd, and I really can't work it out. Perhaps you Road King owners would know on the 2017 model the reasons for that, so drop the comments in below, but it just feels it's not balanced out right. Okay guys, we're just moving into the national speed limit. Let's do the acceleration test. Let's go. Second gear, third gear, fourth gear, and fifth gear. Wow. Okay. Now the reason I'm not saying wow is because of the performance, because clearly it's not spectacular with the 107 on this type of bike. But what I would say is that some of the benefits is that windshield. Now it's quite windy today, and I'm taking, well, I would be taking a little bit of a battering, but because of that windshield that's in front of me, it's just skimming the top of my helmet. One of the effects, though, because I'm wearing a full face helmet, is that it's giving it a little bit of a wobble at the rear. Really odd. So the back of my helmet is just wanting to left right a little bit. But in terms of the noise, it's completely brought that down. The acceleration itself is just okay. I think you've got a lot of bike here, guys. You know, it's a weighted bike indeed, so it's going to need quite a bit of oomph to get it going. So we're coming into a 60 now. I just want to see that cruisability factor at national speed limit. I must admit, I'm not getting any wind resistance on my feet, so I'm not feeling like my legs are being pulled off the foot pedals at all. It's just it's a nice cruising bike, I can tell. Obviously with that Milwaukee engine, it's claiming it's got less vibration. Now, for me personally, I do enjoy the vibration part. In some ways that sounds really wrong, but it kind of reminds me that I'm on a Harley. But this is nice. You know, if you're thinking about going on some long touring rides, then I get less vibration is going to benefit you. Today in the UK as well, for once, it's just at 29 degrees where I am at the moment. Whoa! Hear that back brake then. So we're at 29 degrees, and you know, the benefits of the bike, the way it distributes that hot air, you know, I can definitely see that having a really positive effect. I guess especially if you're in warmer climates that are constant all year round. Now the suspension test. I like to take it over the train tracks. Great way to show what it's like. Here we go. Bada boom. Yeah, it's okay. In fact, I think the Softail Slim S was better. But yeah, it's quite reasonably comfortable. Didn't feel a sharp pain in my back, which is always a benefit. So now let's move into the tight manoeuvrability part of the test, the twisty turns as I usually call it in my reviews, and let's see what this bike is like. One of the reasons why I like taking it down this part of the woods is to test its brakes more than anything, see what it's like. Now with the Road King, you've got the dual linkage with the braking system, so essentially what that means is that when you pull the front brake, it's going to apply the back brake as well. For me personally, going around bends, I do like to apply the back brake more, just so it doesn't lock up at the front, as I have learned through experience. But the brakes feel okay actually. I think because you've got the dual braking system, that does help massively. I think if you're just relying on one brake as I have done, then it's going to be challenging. Oh, tight right. Yeah, it's got a nice lean angle on her, I must admit. For a big brute. Let's get her open, drop it right down, get the 107 open. Oh, bit of air. Fab. Dropping her down, taking that sharp left, second gear, bit of back brake, leave the front alone, off we go. Yeah, when you get those revs up, they do sound nice. The bike does sound good. Okay guys, going into one of my favourite parts of the chicane. Say thank you to this dude. Oh no! No, 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 no! Right, you try it again. Oh, can't do it properly. Never mind. Go right, then left. Oh, that was a bit boring. Okay, I wasn't quite happy with that. So, here we go again. Visor down. Tight chicane. To right, then a left. So on the back brake, just a little bit. Go right, nice. Then the left. See, the left front end definitely wants to dip in more. So one of the things I'm noticing is that I have to use quite a bit of counterbalance here and there. Not as much, nowhere near as much as something like a breakouts, don't get it wrong on that front, but it's just an element of it that you need to do. I was just thinking about the comfort part of this bike, and it is absolutely amazing. I mean, the seat itself is huge. I think where you get that comfort from is having that wide buttock section, and it is relatively wide. One of the things I noticed is that when you put your feet down and you're straddling it, you're keeping that bike upright in a stationary position, it's really pushing your legs out. And one of the things that I find hard is that if I'm trying to do something like a 3-point turn, you know, it's almost like you're walking out with like John Wayne. Or even when, you know, you've got your foot off the ground, you put it back down, it's quite, oh, you got to really juggle this thing about because of the weight. So it goes without saying that we want to get her out on the AA roads just to see how she performs, because to be fair, that's where this cruiser will be mostly based. So let's go for it. Get her up to the speed limit, and we're there already, just in 4th gear. I know I mentioned about the heat distribution earlier, but I can really feel the difference on this bike. I can feel it shifting away from me, which I think is really, really good. If I think about my Harley, I definitely know when it's the summertime and it's hot. And no references to my exhaust, please. But this thing does pull, pull and pull. And as I mentioned, at the national speed limit, with this windshield, it's great. It's really, really good. I think perhaps a higher windshield, it's about here, you really take that effect off from the rear of your helmet, but overall it's fab. So coming to the end of the test review, guys, let me just take you through the pros and cons about this bike. So for me, the pros are the comfort level. Without a doubt, this is, you know, it's got to be a great cruiser. It feels fantastic on the buttocks. In terms of the manoeuvrability, that's great as well. Obviously you need to apply a little bit of counter steer because the front end does like to dip in, but it's great. It's pretty nimble. Filtering capabilities I've tried. That's absolutely, you know, it's absolutely fine. I think in terms of the ergonomics, it's very well based. You know, I'm in that upright position. I've got no issues with slouching. The bars are at a really good height, not exactly shoulder height, but just below. But there's no pressure on my joints or anything like that. The suspension's pretty good as well, like that. Very good. No issues there. And obviously with the 107, one of the better engines that Harley have done, which is good. Distributes the heat well from the outlet. What I do like as well is the gearbox. It's very smooth and a very positive transmission there. It clicks, it clunks, you know exactly where you are. It's easy to get into neutral, which is great. And I think coupled with the footboards, it works really well, to be fair, on this model. And lastly, the windshield. This thing is great. Again, for cruising, it's the thing that you really, really need. I think some of the things that I'm not a big fan of, I think it's got to be the obvious stuff. You know, I'm 35 years old, probably sound about 18, but you know, it's the way the bike looks. It's aesthetically, it's not my cup of tea. It's chromed up to the max, and I think, and I probably know really, it suits a certain generation of that Harley rider. I know the last review with the Softail Slim, I was a little bit critical of the braking system. Just how much power it had for the size of bike, and I think for this it's okay. You know, you've got that dual linkage system, so if you're pulling that front brake, the back brake is automatically jumping in as well to support you, which is great. Well, I would always say with Harley Davidson, and I know they're improving all the time, and to be fair, some of you guys that own Softail Slim S's said to me, Mark, I actually feel the braking system's alright, but I just feel that with these types of bikes, they need to really step their game up at HD. These are big bikes, and if you want them to stop quickly, you know, it's got to have that braking power. But overall, I must say, I've had a smile all day today whilst I've been trying this bike out, and I think that's what it boils down to as well. Are you enjoying it? Are you smiling? And it's been great. So guys, without further ado, I'm going to let you crack on, get on with your YouTube search. Hope you enjoyed this review. As I mentioned, just to highlight, I'm not an expert, clearly. I'm just a dude who loves to ride motorbikes. But if you like the review, give it a thumbs up. Please ensure you subscribe and look at my other reviews that I've done on the Harley Davidson range. But this is Motonewbrider signing off in England on a sunny day at 29 degrees Celsius. All the best, Motonewbrider.